What does spiritual writing look like when there are no words? Before abstract expressionism captured global attention, one artist began covering his canvases with delicate networks of luminous lines, marks that felt less like images and more like prayer. This was Tobey. Influenced by the Bahá'í Faith and inspired by calligraphy, music, and meditation, Tobey believed art could become a visual language of unity, not representation, not symbolism, but spiritual presence itself. Tobey was born in 1890 in Wisconsin, at a time when American art was still searching for its own identity. Early in his career, he worked in illustration and portraiture. But Tobey felt restless. Traditional Western painting no longer felt sufficient to express what he sensed beneath reality. Like many artists of the early 20th century, he began searching, not only artistically, but spiritually. In the 1920s, Tobey encountered the Bahá'í Faith, a spiritual tradition emphasizing the unity of humanity, harmony between religions, and the evolution of human consciousness. This encounter transformed his understanding of art. Instead of focusing on individual expression alone, Tobey became interested in universality, how art could reflect shared spiritual experience across cultures. He studied sacred writings, engaged in meditation, and sought ways to translate spiritual rhythm into visual form. Tobey traveled extensively, including time in China and Japan. There, he encountered East Asian calligraphy and Zen aesthetics. These experiences changed his relationship with line. Brushstrokes were no longer simply marks. They became gestures of awareness, movements of breath and attention. Tobey began to paint as though writing, not letters, but energy itself. In the 1930s and 40s, Tobey developed what he called white writing. Dense webs of luminous lines filled the canvas. At first glance, they appear chaotic, but with time, patterns emerge, movement without hierarchy, multiplicity without division. The paintings feel like illuminated manuscripts from an unknown language, inviting contemplation rather than interpretation. Years before abstract expressionism dominated American art, Tobey was already exploring non-objective painting as a spiritual practice. Unlike artists focused on ego or gesture, Tobey sought humility. His works do not shout, they shimmer. They suggest that meaning arises not from dominance, but from relationship. Each line responds to another, forming a field of interconnected presence. Many critics compared Tobey's paintings to city maps or cosmic networks. Some saw the pulse of modern life. Others saw spiritual vibration. Tobey himself resisted rigid interpretation. For him, abstraction was not escape from reality. It was a deeper engagement with it, a way of seeing unity within complexity. Although less famous than some contemporaries, Tobey's influence was profound. Artists searching for spiritual abstraction found in his work a path beyond traditional religious imagery. He showed that sacred art could exist without icons, without figures, without narrative. Only rhythm, only light, only presence. Tobey believed that art could function like prayer, not demanding attention, but inviting awareness. In a world of noise and spectacle, his white writing offers something quieter, a reminder that spirituality may not always appear as an image. Sometimes it appears as movement, as connection, as a field of light waiting to be seen. This is divine imagination. Continue the conversation at pathos.com. Like and subscribe to be notified when the next episode drops.